Welcome to On Texas Football. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Gerry Hamilton. This episode brought to you by Dr. Brett Robin at Austin Orthopedic Institute. We're going to talk to you guys today about guys we want to see more of in this 2025 football season, and or guys we think you might see more of that haven't been household names quite yet. Let's start with someone who had what I think was a breakout game on Saturday, and that's linebacker, edge, whatever you want to call him, Brad Spence, the young man transferred out of Arkansas, had a whale of a game, Gerry, for the Longhorns against the Sooners. Your thoughts on that situation? Played all of 22 snaps, but was hyper productive.
Yeah, no, very productive. I think 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack in those 22 snaps, playing both linebacker and edge. And, for me, it's kind of been too long coming. Yeah. I mean, on Brad Spence. I mean, he had 54 tackles and 4.5 sacks in the SEC last year at Arkansas. He was a full-time starter for the Razorbacks. And heck, he gave Kelvin Banks fits in Fayetteville at times in that game. So I think Brad Spence has kind of been a guy that probably should have been on the field more this year and should be on the field more the rest of the way, because some guys are just playmakers. And he has a knack for making plays. And he's another pass rusher, right? And he's a guy that has explosiveness and suddenness to him. He's got long arms. He plays stronger than his listed height and weight. I just think he checks a lot of boxes for this team. And I'm surprised the breakout game, and I call it breakout game because it was playing snaps, took this long in the season. He was 54 tackles and 4.5 sacks in the SEC last year.
Well, Gerry, this season already, he has 4 sacks. He's the second leading sack guy on the University of Texas team right now, and he's probably seen, I don't know, a third of the snaps of some guys ahead of him that have fewer. Yep. So yep. I look to your point, as we think about how Texas can get better as the season wears along. Brad Spence's name has to be at the top of the list because he's proven, to your point, he can be a disruptor / playmaker, and Texas will take more of that. Another guy that we talked about, and he really, again, showed out in the Red River Shootout as a freshman, true freshman, is Lance Jackson. Now, Lance has slowly but surely been a integral part of the defense, getting 10, 15 snaps. But, man, he was playing in the fourth quarter against OU, which means his number is starting to be called in more real situations, Gerry. I think that he is growing before your eyes, and he's the guy that, as the season wears on, we're going to see more and more of him, because he's that big defensive end that maybe Texas doesn't have otherwise, because Ethan Burke, even though he's tall, is not really hefty guy, right?
Yeah.
Lance Jackson has some heft to him.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he is a guy that he's got that 6'5" and change, 270, 275 about him. He has got a different level of size at the defensive line position, at the edge position. And, I coming out of high school, I didn't compare him athletically, but I compared him frame-wise, like Julius Peppers with maybe shorter arms, a little shorter arms. But he's got that type of physicality and size and athleticism. He's just a rare guy. We talked about it coming out of high school. If he'd just been a tight end, he might have been the number 1 tight end prospect in the country. He's got that level of athleticism, ball skills, and everything that goes with it. But he's also bringing energy and passion, and it's a little something else that I think this Texas team needs right now. Some of these freshmen are starting to kind of do that. Nick Brooks did that on the offensive line. I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. But I like everything Lance Jackson is bringing. But I really like that. Look, he's a guy that you can tell it truly matters when he makes a really good play. It's not fake celebration. It just feels genuine. It looks real. It's not rehearsed. And having seen him in high school, I kind of know his mannerisms a little bit, but I just love what he's bringing to this team. And I do think we will see more of him. And again, Kentucky coming up, they're going to try to run the football at Texas. He has a place on this team. Georgia is going to try to run the football. Vanderbilt, A&M. There's people coming up here that size, athleticism combo is going to matter. I expect him to play more and more.
Another young edge guy that's kind of making his name is Zena Omozlu. You and I both thought he played well in spots against OU and at other times this year. Again, another guy that comes off the edge that I think can add something even more as the season goes along for Texas.
Again, another big guy. Texas has some really good size, and he's got extreme arm length now. We're talking 83, 84-inch wingspan. Look, when you look at the stats, the numbers don't blow you away. Lance Jackson has 8 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. Zena has 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 sack, and they both have a few hurries. But it's what they're bringing. They're putting stress on offensive tackles with their combination of size and length. They're also, Bobby, when you have guys that are that big, it changes passing lanes. It changes the vision for a quarterback. So Zena has good quickness, but he's also got really good length. So when he puts his arms up, when Lance Jackson puts their arms up, that affects a quarterback's vision. So these guys are more than just a stat sheet, I think, and the hurries and the PFF grades. They can truly affect what an offense and a quarterback's doing, even if they aren't in the play. And I think that's, again, something to watch as this season moves along. But I love the young edges on this Texas team. Even when Smith Orogbo got in the game, he looked really good against Sam Houston State in that game. The young edges for Texas, I think, are maybe arguably the strength of this program when looking at the freshman-sophomore class.
Yeah, well, I mean, Colin Simmons is a sophomore too, true sophomore. Yeah. But I would say this, what a lot of people don't realize, Lance Jackson was playing early and late against OU. Yeah. He only registered 11 snaps, partially because Texas, I think, didn't respect the run game of the Sooners. 100%. Jackson's more of a run guy, whereas Zena, who's more of a pass rush type and a bigger guy, had 20 snaps to Lance Jackson's 11. That gives you a sense of maybe how Texas sees their personnel right now alongside an Ethan Burke, alongside a Colton Vasek, and those older guys. All right, a couple other players on defense that I wanted to mention that I think we might be seeing more of, depending on the team. Cole Brevard and Travis Shaw, defensive tackle, against heavy run teams. Brevard only had 17 snaps against OU. Again, they didn't need him in that game. They needed pass rushers, and they needed athleticism. Same with Travis Shaw, 5 snaps in the game against OU. He's more of a run stopper, Jerry. And then you look on the back end, 2 other guys I want to mention. Derek Williams, who is now a sophomore, or going to be a junior, I guess, a redshirt sophomore. He is a guy that needs to see more snaps. He saw 20-plus snaps against OU. I think as it goes on, whether or not it's an injury to one of our existing guys, knock on wood, or just getting him back to playing speed, because he was out even through the spring and some of summer. And then a young guy like Cade Phillips on the back end, who's participating in all the special teams. He needs to start seeing some more game time action, I think, because he has a lot of upside. And look, Manny Muhammad has been injured. Jalen Gilbo went down for a bit. Kobe Black hasn't been healthy all season, or not all season, but for some of this season. So they're going to need more from Cade Phillips, I think, as the year goes on too.
And I think Brevard, Travis Shaw, again, Saturday coming up. Kentucky's a run-heavy team. They have quarterback issues
with big offensive linemen.
Yes, this is going to be a game where you're going to see the jumbo defensive fronts, the Hero Canoe playing more of a 5 technique or an edge probably. So that when that happens, you see more of Cole Brevard and Travis Shaw, along with Barad Watson and Alex January. So when you play the run-heavy team, I think you're going to see more of Travis Shaw and Cole Brevard, and I expect to see that on Saturday in Lexington. Those guys are going to have their place, and the key is everybody stays engaged, right? But you know that Cole Brevard and Travis Shaw can play the run well, and I do think we're going to see more of that, because the back end of this schedule, when you take the 3 G5s who are going to try to get the ball out of their hand quick, right, and short, quick game and passing, when you look at the back half of the schedule, who is it? It's Kentucky, it's Mississippi State, it's Vanderbilt and what they do offensively, it's Georgia, it's Arkansas, and it's A&M. Those
heavy power run games.
Those run defenders are going to be key the second half of the year. So Cole Brevard, Travis Shaw, I think you're going to see increased snap counts for those guys from the first half of the season to the second half.
One of the good things about that, all those guys healthy,
Yeah.
by the way, going into this gauntlet of the second half of the season. That is all SEC play. All right, a couple other guys that we need to mention are on offense. But first, I want to say thank you to our sponsor. What a great guy. Dr. Brett Robin, former Longhorn running back. He knows what it takes to stay in the game, and he's here for athletes of all ages, specializing in musculoskeletal health. Dr. Robin treats joint pain and injuries with a conservative approach first, but also offers advanced surgical options, including arthroscopic procedures, fracture management, and total joint replacements. With convenient offices in Austin, Georgetown, and Killeen, Dr. Robin is accepting new patients now. If you're looking for a top-notch orthopedic, give Dr. Robin a call, 512-856-1000. That's 512-856-1000. Get back to your active lifestyle and doing what you love. Special thanks to Dr. Brett Robin of Austin Orthopedic Institute for sponsoring On Texas Football. All right, Jerry, I mentioned there were some offensive players to talk about. Two of them actually kind of they started, one of them just got thrown in there last week, and that's Nick Brooks. So we thought, hey, are we going to see more of him as the year goes on? Well, it turns out he's now a starter. So we'll take him off of our quote unquote list, right, of a guy that needs to see more action. But another guy that saw a lot of time that is coming on of late is Jordan Washington.
Yeah.
So it was clear he was the number 2 tight end. For the first time, there was just no question that he was the number 2 tight end, even in snap count. Had 22 snaps compared to Jack Hendry's 51. Spencer Shannon had 12. Amari Winston had 3. Nick Townsend had 6. So Jordan Washington, and he made the first catch of the game. He's clearly sure-handed. He's got some size to him. He can be a guy that grows as this season goes on too, and we will see more of, I think.
Sometimes you forget the plays he made in the spring, that his first spring at Texas, when he was a senior in high school technically, but graduated in December. It seems like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. And then he was out in the spring with the shoulder injury. Again, missed some time, valuable time when he'd got a lot of reps. I think his body's continued to add strength to it in his frame, continue to fill out and reshape his frame a little bit. But he is a tough kid who's really good after the catch at the tight end position for his size. I want to say for his size. So I think we're going to see more of Jordan Washington, and just putting the screen on tape. Somebody has to prepare for that. Now that it's out there with Jordan Washington and what he did after, I think it was a 13-yard gain. It's there on tape. And I do think this about Jordan Washington too. He had a couple of drops along the sidelines early this year, but I think he's a guy that will make contested catches in traffic. So as he gets more experience, I expect to see more of him on this team. And I think he's got a really good future at Texas.
Yeah, I do too. Last guy we want, but both of those guys have already started their integration process, right? I mean, Brooks is now just whole hog. He's in it.
Right.
Jordan Washington is being brought in, and they're running more 12 personnel with him, and he's being the inline guy when really he started off as the outside guy, and Jack Hendry. I mean, so that's interesting, I think. The other guy, and Sark mentioned him today in his press conference, he said he wanted to get him more carries. The other young guy is James Simon. Look, Trey Wisner is back. What a great play. What a great game he had against OU on Saturday. We think CJ Baxter is clearly on the mend. Will he be available for Kentucky? We don't know. Maybe not at this point. But what I want to say is that role as who could be Trey Wisner's second or body double if Trey Wisner ever goes down, and that kind of runner, I think the best one right now is James Simon. Yeah. And, Sark mentioned in today's presser that he wanted to get James Simon more carries, but didn't because Trey Wisner had such a hot hand. And you can't blame him on that.
No. I mean, look, and here's the thing I look at for a James Simon is this week at Kentucky, while it's a road game and Kentucky has played teams to the wire every year, right? That are ranked higher, have more talent. I don't think Texas wants to hand it to Trey Wisner 20 times this weekend in Lexington. So whether that's CJ Baxter, if he can come back, and the combination of James Simon, I think some of that load needs to go off Trey Wisner this week. Because look, Trey Wisner is a really good player, but he's not going to take 20 to 22 carries a game the last 7 games and be healthy or have enough in the tank at the end of the year. So they have to take some of that off his plate. And again, even if CJ Baxter was able to make his return this week, they're not going to put a lot on his plate this game either, I don't think. So it would be a naturally good fit and time for James Simon to get a few more carries. Could you get him to 7 or 8 carries in this game? I don't know. It's going to be a low possession game, but I do think Sark is genuine wanting to get James Simon in the game more because I still believe this. I think instinctively, born as a running back, he may have the best running instincts on this team, but he's a young player with 2 experienced players in front of him.
Yeah, I want to say this. Part of the reason we need him to step up is neither Jarrett Gibson nor Christian Clark have really distinguished themselves quite yet with the carries they've gotten. Simon has actually looked a little better. And so, how do you get better as a team? You have a third running back potentially in James Simon.
You got to get your number 3 running back ready because Wisner and Baxter have already missed time this year too.
Yeah, they both years.
I mean, what are the odds they both don't miss time again, a game or something the rest of the way? I mean,
very slim.
Very slim. The hits Trey Wisner was taking Saturday, very slim.
Yeah, and Wisner's a smaller dude, you know, and the soft tissue injuries have really hurt Cedric Baxter. So I also would say this: Simon's been pretty safe with the ball too. Compared to both Gibson and Clark at times. So, all right, we'll see. We'll see. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about this was because when I wrote the article this morning over at On Texas Football, Jerry, I really thought there was still a lot of meat left on the bone in this Texas team, particularly on offense. When I was talking about now that Arch is going and all that, but really there's meat left on the bone everywhere because there's such a young team, and they're still integrating players into their roster. And I mean, we didn't even mention what happens if a Jonah Williams starts seeing time or Xavier Filsaime. He's starting to see more time.
Yeah.
They're starting to integrate those guys, and it's very interesting to see who can really push that on. Brad Spence, though, I think you and I are in agreement, is the one that might be, other than Nick Brooks, but he's already a starter, that might be a real game changer because he's making sudden plays, and those are so rare for everybody. All right, Jerry, anything to add before we let folks go today? Right now,
no. I mean, look, Texas had a new offer in 2026 Sunday. That is Micah Smith, offensive lineman from Vero Beach. I talked to his head coach, Lenny Jankowski. I've known a long time from doing this nationally and living in South Florida. Used to do some of their high school games. But Micah Smith visited Ohio State officially 2 weeks ago. He's supposed to talk to the Texas staff tonight to set up his Texas official visit. I'm guessing it will be November 22nd weekend against Arkansas because that's when Texas is bringing in Braylon Hodge, a linebacker from Cherry Creek, for his official visit. So that's 2 new offers in 26 thus far. We know it won't be the last one. There will be 1 or 2 others, possibly at defensive back, something we're watching, very possibly at defensive back. And that November 22nd game is one that I think Texas is starting to target to bring guys to. We're watching to see if the Florida D-line commit Kendall Gerville comes in then. Who else might come in? Dre Quinn, some other guys that Texas is still after. So that November 22nd game against Arkansas, we're starting to circle. But Micah Smith, the UCLA commit, the offensive tackle from Vero Beach, 6'5.5", about 320. He was offered Sunday, and we expect him to schedule official visit tonight.
I went and watched this film right after the news broke of him getting an offer from Texas. He is a large human, and he has really good feet.
Yes, really and by the way, and I want to add, at Vero Beach, I posted this on ontexasfootball.com. For the guys who love to follow the young quarterbacks, I believe the number 1 quarterback on the board in 2028 is the quarterback at Vero Beach, wonderful Champ Mons IV. Ohio State,
wonderful Champ Mons IV.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Got to remember that name.
6'2", 225. There's 2 colleges, 1 Big Ten, 1 SEC. that have told people at Vero Beach that he's the best quarterback prospect in America in any class. We'll see how it pans out in the next few years, but he's been that impressive, was that impressive as a freshman and at camp circuits. He's had a high ankle sprain. He returns back to action this week or next week. I expect Texas to offer him soon.
Interesting. All right. Good stuff there. Gerry Hamilton of On Texas Football. Thanks again to Dr. Brett Robin. Guys, if you have any orthopedic needs, make sure you reach out to Dr. Brett Robin. If you live in the Central Texas area, Austin, Georgetown, Killeen, Dr. Robin is accepting new patients now. If you're looking for a top-notch orthopedic, give Dr. Robin a call, 512-856-1000. That's 512-856-1000. The former Longhorn running back knows what it takes to get you back to your active lifestyle and doing what you love. Thank you to Dr. Robin for sponsoring On Texas Football. All right, Jerry, that'll do it. Coach Shipley, Rod Babers, CJ Vogel are back tonight, 7:15 with the live stream. Make sure you guys check it out. Until later, hook 'em.